Alrighty, hey there, y'all. Blind Justice here, and I know I need to shave my face. I'm just making this video because I've been working on this song, and this is kind of, you're gonna hear the song. It's be the next video in the lineup. It'll be out tomorrow. And I've been working on this song for a while, and I kind of wanted to talk about my inspirations behind this song that's coming out. Well, the song is a blues song, because why? I love the blues. You know, the blues is a great tool, and it's a great style of music. You got your E, A, B7, A, D, not E minor. But, so basically, the song that I'm going to be coming out with is not the final version of this song. There's never going to be a final version of this song. This is one that I've been wood shopping in the background. And every so often, like, I'll be wood shopping it and I'll come up with something new. That's the beginning of the song, right? It's got a good lead in, right? And Robert Johnson, you know, I was sitting there and I was listening. I've listened to everything that Robert Johnson has done. And I love his ability to have a bass line. And then play a melody over top of it. Although, like I said, he was doing slide guitar. I have not mastered, nor have I even started learning the aspects of slide guitar. And I'll get into the reasons why in a future video. But, so, I'm like, what can I do that is Robert Johnson-esque at my current guitar skill level? Because my knowledge is limited. I will acknowledge that every day of the week. What I know on the guitar is probably just a small percentage of what there is to know. I've learned the names of of all the frets of all the lines. You know, I've learned them all the way down the fretboard and all the way back up. And that's what I've been focused on for a while. And my guitar is tuned down a whole step, so it doesn't start with an E. You know, it's a D, D sharp, E, F. Blah, 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 F, sharp, G, like, and it goes on and on and on and on. But, hold on, I did that wrong. D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A, you know, blah, blah, B, blah, 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 C, you know, there's no space, B and C are directly linked. And so, you know, I went through the entire, every string. I learned them all the way up. And why did I do that? Because, you know, a lot of people stick with open chords when they play guitar, right? It's just like, oh, I'm going to play this right here. You know, or, oh, let me play my G note, you know, which is not a G here. You know, this is actually an A because I'm tuned down. But, so this will be your G. But then you can bar and go up and down, blah, 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 blah. I've been learning that with the E. But anyways, back to why I'm making this video. So Robert Johnson, what a brilliant man. You know? He knew how to market himself in a great way. And how he did that is because in the time when Robert Johnson was alive, he was traveling through the Bible Belt, right? And he would play music about the devil, he was friends with the devil, because it was very controversial. And people would either hate him or love him for that. And there was no one that was right in the middle, right? And so he was super controversial with this, and we can still see this going through the different eras of music. The more controversial you are, the more likely you are to succeed. You know what I mean? Oh, metal, that's the devil's music. Well, guess what? Because people hated it, others loved it just because others hated it. You know, and then it became a culture war because they were defending the idea of the music. And so this is kind of the basis of that, right? Oh, people hate the devil, they're worshiping God. Well, I'm going to write music about loving the devil and being friends with him. And, you know, of course, Bible thumpers. I've got a few on the channel that watch my videos. I don't know why. I'm by far not a Christian. But back in those days, it was highly, highly, highly unusual for someone to be writing music like Robert Johnson was. And so, since he was so polarizing, you know, it became a political issue of freedom of speech. Oh, we got to stop the blues music because that's the music of the devil. And then, you know, we can't allow people to be playing the Satan's music. And other people saying, well, freedom of speech. You can't stop him for freedom. Boom. Just like that. All of a sudden, you know, through the chaos of controversy, his music became famous. He wasn't famous in his lifetime. Don't get me wrong. He was acknowledged within his lifetime. He had recorded tracks. But he was never rich. He died a poor man. But he knew how to sell himself. You know, he could always play for a bottle of booze. And he did. And so going through and listening to his music, and the thing is people are like, oh, he learned to play music from the devil. No, he did not. What happened is he really enjoyed playing the guitar and he sucked at it. So what he did was he went out to try to find the best blues guitar teacher that he could, and he did. And I can't remember his name, but ironically, he's oftentimes forgotten. But Robert Johnson was trained by what was considered the best blues guitarist in his time. And what they would do is at night, they would go out at night from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock in the morning, and they would go into a graveyard. And they would practice blues in a graveyard. And why? Is because they believed that if you really wanted to get good, because back in that era, you know, there was more superstition, there was more, you know, magic was more magical. You know what I mean? Like, things were not as known as they are today. So playing in the graveyards, playing with the dead, it was suspected to make you better. Make you, because the dead don't lie. And so it was supposed to make you a better player. And I learned that by watching a documentary with Robert Johnson's son. And so, yeah, like I've listened to his music, all of his songs for a long time. Well, 8-9 months. And I would just sit there and I'd listen to him. He would be playing, you know, he would have some sort of bouncing bass, right? Something like that. Well, but he would be doing that while doing some crazy stuff on top of it, to the point where people thought that he was so damn good that he had to have been playing with other people. The truth is he was just that damn good. His hands were huge. He had big hands. I have what's known as lady hands. Don't take offense to that, but I have tiny hands for a man. I do. So there's no way I'm going to be able to pull off all the stuff that Robert Johnson was able to do. For example, I can't do the whole, you know, I can do that, but I can't do this and be able to play solos underneath, because my hands are just so small that I can't reach all the stuff I need to in order to do a bouncing bass line on top of playing solos. So that's something that I ran into as a problem with my hand size. You know, if you have small hands, they say don't play the guitar. Well, I wanted to anyways. And so what ended up happening is I tuned my guitar down a whole step, and then I capo up 2 frets. Why? The frets are closer together down here, and it makes about a 2-inch difference when you're playing down here versus up here. you know, so my hands theoretically can reach 2 inches farther than they could up here, down here, and they can. So like there's things that, like when I was playing with Kelly, he would do things like, and then he would do, and then this right here, I could never do up down here. And then reach, like literally, if you look, there's my hand literally can't go any farther in. You have to be able to hit this. I don't know if I'm in frame or not, but you have to be able to hit this fret line. There's no way. My hands just, genetically, I can't do it. My hands are too small. But down here, when I capo up to play in traditional tuning, all of a sudden I have full access to the range that a person with larger hands does. And so, you know, if you ever see me playing with the capo on the 2nd fret, that's why. Because I'm playing in traditional tuning up here so that my little hands can reach farther. So, yeah, Robert Johnson has massively big hands. He also had a guitar that had 7 strings, and the 7th string was put on by him or his teacher. We don't know who put the 7th string on. What we know is that he had a 7th tuner added onto his guitar, and it wasn't up here at the head. It was somewhere down on the neck that was screwed in, and you know, it like he had cuts specifically engraved into his you know, into the lining of his guitar so it would fit the 7 strings. He would have the other one tuned specifically for we don't know what, because he never revealed any of his stuff. So he had a 7-string guitar, and he had it specifically tuned for his blues playing. And so, like he really did customize the instrument to maximize his playability. So he would have big hands being able to play all these crazy stuff, and then a 7th string, which I'm assuming he would tune higher so that he could reach even farther up the octave scale without having to move his hand any farther down the fretboard, because he's still playing a walking bass line at the same time. Those are my assumptions based off of all the research that I've done with or about Robert Johnson. And so those are the ideas that you know, I've learned that controversy within your music playing can make you famous, and that you know, if you have big hands, you're better off. But so I can't, you know, when I play like Robert Johnson, I just have a droning bass line. That's it. You know, E, what, D, 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 like this. This is it. And then I'll do this right here. And there's you a little sneak of the song that's coming out tomorrow. I don't really have a name for it because it's just something I've been wood shopping in the background, you know, for a while. And so I'm just probably gonna name it something generic, maybe like Lonely Blues. There we go, perfect. I'll call it Lonely Blues. And there's no vocals, and it's just the guitar. No harmonica, no vocals, because, well, I haven't written any parts for those yet. I do plan on bringing the harmonica into the fold at some point, but right now I'm still in the process of, you know, figuring the guitar stuff out. Like, and so once I get to the point where I'm super hyped and super excited about where the guitar is at on that song, then I'll bring in the harmonica, maybe I'll make some vocals. Now, I am working on another song that is inspired by Travis and Doc Watson, and it is a blues style song. I was inspired by Deep River Blues, I think it is, from Doc Watson. And he stole the bass line for that from Travis. So this one, the one that I'm working on there, which will not be coming out tomorrow, it does have that bass line of, you know, Travis bass line. And so, you know, I've been learning my thumb bouncing back and forth between 6/4, 5/4, 6/4, 5/4. You know, I've been practicing that in the background as well because, you know, that's needed. Now, here's a lot of people say that if you pattern play, that's finger picking, and or you're a picker. But I don't think you're a picker if you just play patterns. You know, because I mean, I can play patterns all day. But that's an argument for another day, for another video. So yeah, Robert Johnson. Have you checked out some of his stuff? When was the last time you listened to it? Go back and give it a good run through, you know? Listen to all the songs that he's made. There's not that many. You know, give him a little appreciation. Him and Blind Willie. Blind Willie, by the way, I believe, is the opposing coin to Robert Johnson. You know, Blind Willie would write blues music that were practically religious songs about the Lord and all this other stuff. And I'm like, very interesting, you know? But I will say this, Blind Willie taught me that you don't need lyrics in a song to have a good song. I mean, his most famous song that's literally flying through space right now on the Golden Press album, not a single word in it. It's just his vocal tones that are relaying emotions on top of his guitar playing. And so what I've learned from Blind Willie is that it really comes down to the emotions you put into the song. You know, if you make something that's controversial, that's driven by your emotions, and it's filled with passion, you way better chance of succeeding than just doing something for the sake of doing it. You know, doing something just for the sake of doing it is never going to really get you to where you want to be, or me where I want to be as a guitar player, or as a one-man band, or an instrumentalist, or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, this is the Lonely Blues. This was kind of where the inspiration came from for Lonely Blues, and with a little sneak peek of what the song's going to be like. I also have another song that'll be coming out on the banjo within the next few days that I wrote, and it's called Banjo Player. And I wrote this one, well, I'll talk about that one later. I'll just leave that as a little bit of a teaser, as the kids say. All right, this has been Blind Justice. Feel free to subscribe. Hope you enjoy the song. I'll be uploading it tomorrow.